Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts ever in the whole wide world, Terry Diamantis.
Hello.
And Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
We had the pre-show on Rumble, and we've established that everybody's okay. Usually I start the show by saying, how you doing, Jen? Jen said, I'm doing fine. How you doing? And then I say, Terry, how you doing? And we're all okay. Just want everybody to know that we're all okay. Before we maybe not even get into the topics, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody who showed up in chat first.
Yeah. Actually, remember to do it on time? Yeah. You first, Terry?
Yeah, I'll take care of Rumble. So we have Cynic, we have Jack Dunsky, and we have Tyr Alexander. I think that's everyone.
And before I move on to answering mine, I just wanted to answer something to Tyr. Could you imagine telling your mom, what if it had taken her a day? She'd choke you. With love. With love. Hi, Hammer. How are you?
I'm great.
Hi, Keeverdam. I hope you're well. Hi, Terry. I hear all your birds, and that makes me think you're going into summer, and I'm only mildly jealous because I'm from Canada.
We are going into summer, yes.
Hi, Rotten. How are you? Hi, Mike R. And a bad dog unlimited, who's also James.
Yes.
Hi, James. Hi, Jack. Stop the stream. Jack is here.
Yeah.
Hi, Green. Hi, Green. And I think that's everybody without repeating.
Okay. We were talking about pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So let's get back onto that.
Well, I can confirm that Jack Dunsky is in YouTube chat as well, so there is the pain.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to get about pain is it's not just getting kicked in the balls is not just about pain. What really bothers me about it. Getting kicked in the balls is not a big deal. It hurts. I get it. I've been kicked in the balls. I've thrown up from it. I've rolled around on the ground. It's happened to me. But what bothers me more about it than anything else is you're taking a chance on that person's ability to be a father when you do shit like that.
Sure.
That's what really bothers me.
It's also unnecessary. It's like if men were to go around pulling on women's titties, nobody would be laughing about that. Like everyone would be a little bit hysterical about it. But yeah, like I said before, if it's an emergency, I need to get away from a crazy mofo, all things go. You know, if the only thing I have is my foot, it's all I got.
Now, if people were running around sucking on women's breasts, that would be fine. Not for a sexual reason. It's just like, I'm really thirsty here.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to me that if there's anything, if anybody from the female sex has any problem, the first thing they go to, every woman seems to go, the first thing is to the balls every time.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, look, my insult of you didn't require you to take a chance on me not being able to reproduce. That's a little bit excessive. You didn't like that I said you were ugly. Okay, call me a dick or something like that, and everybody's good. But to take a swing just because you heard something you didn't like, nah, I don't go for that. Now, if you're trying to, like Jen says, if you're in fear of your life, yeah, go ahead. Give everything you got. But too many women are just, oh, look at they're laughing. They kick you and they laugh. Oh, look, I kicked them in the balls. Ah. It's much more serious than that, sweetheart. Don't laugh.
I also admit maybe part of the attitude problem is with women just swinging first, and that is actually really new. I'm not saying that women don't slap. They used to slap. It used to just be a slap. Oh, yeah. Like, you've offended me, you get a slap. But not that that's okay.
I have no problem with that. Somebody slapping me in the arm, or if I say something inappropriate and they slap me in the face, I deserved it. I get that. But at least when I was growing up, if you were 16 to 18 or something like that, and you said about something about a girl, the first thing she'd do is throw a leg at you. I'm like, yo, you can't do that. I don't think women take it serious.
No, they don't. And
you guys practice that?
No.
I also think they have this misconception about boys. Like, yes, I could see young boys who don't understand their own temper or their strength yet maybe taking a swing, but that's usually the kid who gets his ass kicked. until he learns to hold his temper a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, men don't just go swinging at each other all the time. Like, okay, don't excuse the bar fight guys with like average everyday people because they're drunk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said before that I think all it is that boys are socialized almost from birth to use their strength responsibly and to not be violent, because there's severe social penalties on young boys when they do get violent, to sort of train them not to do it. Girls don't get that. So to them, violence is a joke. Then they don't get taught to take it seriously because they're, the cute little weak gender that can't hurt a fly. So, like, why teach them that violence is wrong?
Yeah.
And that's why domestic violence rates skyrocket in lesbian relationships as opposed to gay male or heterosexual ones, because women aren't socialized not to be violent.
Well, men are socialized to gauge their violence. It's not like they're being taught to be or not to be. They're allowed to
use
be
it responsibly.
Yeah, they're allowed to be so they can understand how to use it good and bad and where the limits are and that kind of stuff, because they're going to use it throughout their life at some point. It's better when they're young to learn what this much power will do versus what this much power will do. But women never get socialized in that. So when they think they're just going to take a little swat at you and end up taking half your jaw off, they're not expecting to be able to do that because we're weak. We're not going to hurt them. And then whack them. It's like, holy shit.
It's also in a lot of the actual straight domestic violence cases, they really don't cover the whole story a lot of the times.
Mm-mm.
And if you had a camera on the whole story, you would see that sometimes she is still the instigator. Like, she started the physical part of the fight. She's done it before. I'm not saying that that's okay for the guy to hit her, because at the end of the day, he's still gonna, like, he still has more of a chance of really doing serious harm.
Well,
but
I would almost guarantee it. I think if you took domestic violence cases, the majority of times it was either mutual, in which like they both wail on each other, or if it's one-sided, the girl instigates the man into attacking her. I think there's very few men who just randomly decide to beat on the woman.
It's no longer like that. Like, that's something that you would have heard of from like the 50s and the 60s, where maybe a little bit of the dynamic was different. Like, all it takes is one crazy family member, it can be either sex. It doesn't matter which one, but a controlling person can be really fucked up in the head towards even their own family members. So like, when I see the stuff now, I'm like, no, that's not the same thing. I'm not saying they don't exist. They probably do, but they're completely hidden amongst all of that. So, like,
and Keith says no one should hit anyone.
Yes.
I mean, essentially, within certain contexts, yes, you're right. I mean, there are times when you do need to hit people, but not in like loving relationships. That shouldn't be a thing. Like if someone pulls a gun on you, then yes, you can hit them. That's fine. But in the context of like a partnership, no, neither partner should be hitting the other.
It's something that I struggle with because it's very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fun?
It's very, no, it's, can't believe that's the word you came up with. No, it is very specific. It's very specific to the circumstance.
Yes.
If my Jen took a swat at me, I would just laugh at her.
Right.
Even if she hit me hard, I still just laugh at her, because she knows and I know that if she were to really try, she stands no chance. She knows that and I know that. So I know, but if random person on the subway took a shot at me, then I have to determine, okay, where is this person coming from? Are they just a Looney Tune? In which case I should feel sorry for them and just pin them down and call the cops. Or is it give as you get? Or is it, I don't have time for this, I'm going to end it in one shot? You have a lot of decisions to make at that point.
Yeah, I think motive is a big part. Like, if your girlfriend takes a swing at you, it's probably going to be playful. Like, she's not trying to hurt you. So you can, like, dismiss
She's never hit me in anger.
Right, exactly.
So, oh my gosh, that neighbor's dog, he really doesn't like the rain. So one of the things I was watching the last week was police actually rescuing men caught up in domestic violence. And so what they have to do is they have to document everything. You know, so sometimes it'll be like the guy is covered in bite marks, he's covered in scratch marks, and they have to call the cops every single time and document every single thing. You know, it's not that they can't do it, it's just so hard to. And that's the fight that really should be brought to the table, because to really fix the domestic problem, actually addressing the instigating would probably solve at least some of it. Not all of it, but it would solve some of it. Because
this has gotten much more complicated with the equal rights movement from women in feminism. Now they're saying, well, I want to be treated equal.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Okay. Do you really? I don't think you do, because if a guy takes a swat at me, I'm not holding back. I don't care how lightly it was. I'm going to break my wrist on him if I have to. So you don't want me to be equal with that when it's a woman that hit me. You want me to treat you differently.
Even beyond the violent side of things, just look at Nora Vincent, who tried to live as a man for
right.
She tried to do it for 2 years and she couldn't make it. She had to stop after it was either 6 or 18 months, but at some point she just couldn't deal with it and stopped. Because it is not as easy as women seem to think to be a man.
What's the end of that story though?
I'm more of the egalitarian here. I actually just want them to enforce the law both ways. Like if a guy can really prove, and it should be the same for the woman. You really should have to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that clearly the instigator, and then actually just split up. Like just split up. Get as far away from each other as possible.
Sure.
Maybe that's something that they can add to the police force, where okay, if we have to help you get away from this person, we can, set you up somewhere across town until you can move on. I don't know. I'm not the person with the funds in that regard, but
one thing I do want to point out, because Keith says equal rights doesn't always involve violence. There's a big difference between equal rights and equal treatment. Like I do think under the law, men and women should have the same rights, but you don't treat men and women the same way. You just don't.
And that's the problem. I want them to be treated equally under the law. Like if you can prove that, she's. But I also I think the thing would be male shelters. Actually, fuck the feminists. I'd actually like cities to have a male shelter for that reason. So if they have nowhere to go, and the cops can clearly see that no, this guy is being tortured by this guy, they have somewhere safe to go.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree that there should be male shelters and all the rest of it. I'm just saying that women who think they want to be treated the exact same way that men are treated are kidding themselves. That they're either uninformed or they're just nuts, because we are way nicer to women than we are to men. Like across the board, men and women the same. Women get so much special treatment that I don't think they recognize how much they get.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson did that in the Kathy Newman interview. He talked about specifically that. He says men in a working atmosphere, there's always a threat of physical violence. And he said that avenue is just not available to women.
True.
So I don't know. It really is a difficult thing to navigate, more difficult now than it used to be.
And Keith says equal responsibility too. Oh, yeah. Good luck with that. That's never going to happen.
I say this a lot, and I'm sure that people in the Minions and people who know me probably don't like me for it, but it is of my opinion that it is entirely impossible to hold a woman responsible for anything.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No matter what happens, it's his fault every time. If she does anything, I cheat on him because he was ignoring me. It was his fault.
No, exactly.
I think if you ask men that, make that point out to men, I think just about every one of them would agree with me. They won't say it because they don't want to look bad in front of women, but I think a lot of guys believe that.
Yeah, see,
So-
I'm not trying to get laid, so I can just be honest.
It's
These are the things we talk about, ladies, when you're not around.
it is because they're not being held accountable. Like I've felt that way for the longest time, that like men wouldn't really feel that way if, at least in the cases where it should be clear. Like I remember last year my buddy TC was kind of stuck on this case where this bitch murdered her boyfriend by stabbing him over 100 and I think it was 103 times.
Yeah.
And she got away with it because she was high. And I'm like, motherfucker, I smoke pot like a lot. And I've never thought to pick up a knife and stab somebody. I mean, the most violent I ever got, and I apologized to my brother for it. He said something that's made me think like he was using my mom, like just taking her for granted. And I actually punched him in, well, it was more of a push because I stopped halfway through. I was like, there's no way that me punching him would do anything in the first place because he's a 550-pound dude. And I told him afterwards that I wanted to punch him like a brother. Like I was trying to project 200-pound dude. And then I was like, all right, I'm a 140-pound woman, so I can't. And I apologized to him. I explained why I was angry. I apologized for using violence and not just explaining myself. And then he kind of looked at me like, you tried to punch me like a brother? I'm like, yeah, I tried to be a man for just 2 seconds.
Not easy.
No. And I barely even pushed him. Like, but I still apologize. Like, I do think that if you're in the wrong for something, which I was too angry to think to use my words.
Yeah.
Don't use violence first. I'm not a brother.
There's a significant part of our psyche that is like that we will go to fists pretty quickly, but it's how we're built. I mean, Tyr was saying it in chat. He's, next time a woman gives him a hard time, he's going to tell her to man up.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, it's hard for us to negotiate all of this terrain because it keeps changing. We were so comfortable before laying down our jacket so you can walk over the puddle. That was who we were for a long time. And granted, there were some lunatics who were like, you brought soup for dinner? And you have those guys that are just, fucking lunatics.
Psychotics, but not very many. That's pretty rare.
But now we're not allowed to be that guy anymore. I can walk myself across. I don't need you in your stupid coat. Oh, come on.
Well, here was my response to a British feminist who I think she was on one of the Piers shows, and she was complaining about men holding the door open for her. And I was like, if you really wanted to be equal, why don't you take the chance to open a door for somebody?
Yeah.
Like, honest to God, when I was a kid, the greatest joy was actually opening the door for the seniors. Like, old men get a great joy out of
pat you on the head.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, son.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel good.
And so, somebody opening the door it is courtesy. That's all it is. It's just genuine courtesy. You can do that yourself. It's like the seat thing on the bus. That always bothered me. Okay, if a guy got up for me, well, first of all, I don't know his motivations, but that's nice. That's really kind of him.
Yeah.
And for two, well, what if the next person coming on the bus is an older person? Well, I'm going to get up then because
for them, right?
I'm of the opinion that fuck you, I got to this seat first.
Well, do you guys have like small convenience stores? Like certain places in certain areas of the States, there's a conglomeration of small grocery stores. Like you get out in Virginia, that kind of stuff. There's like 7-Eleven. Have you ever heard of 7-Eleven?
Yeah,
I've heard of 7-Eleven.
Yeah, up here in Pennsylvania, we have Turkey Hill. Is ours, and if you go to different parts of the state, you'll get a different grouping. You'll start seeing, 7-Elevens will start not being around. You'll be driving down the road and producing some other small grocery store. You start running into a whole bunch of them. Okay. But there's the one near me is called Turkey Hill, and it's throughout northeastern Pennsylvania. It's very popular. I feel like a 7-Eleven would be in other places. The reason I mentioned 7-Eleven because I have a house in Virginia, and down there the big convenience store is 7-Eleven. So I know both of them. And not once, but twice, I have been told by women when opening the door for them on my way into Turkey Hill, I can open the door myself. Thank you. And I'm in the middle of buttfuck Egypt up here. It's all farmland and women who look like walking pears. They're very much a very rural area. Lots of large areas of growing corn and that kind of shit. You know, it's just like, you know, we're one step away from log cabins out here, to be absolutely honest with you. And to hear that feminism is embedded that much here. Maybe you run across one. Okay, one. Twice? You're kidding me. Up here? And I can only imagine what it's like for people. I haven't been back to my house in Virginia in a couple of years because the family that's living there take care of it. I don't really have any problems. So I don't really have a reason to go to Virginia. It's just a long haul for nothing. I do have friends down there, but they usually come up to see me because I have a nicer house. But to be honest with you, I could see that happening around where I live in Virginia because DC is right next door.
Right.
You know, and that stuff is pervasive in that area. So I can understand it.
Yeah.
But up here, I couldn't believe. So now I don't open doors for doors for women anymore. I just don't do it. If I'm walking up the door and she's walking up at the same time, I'll pull up my phone, I'll stop, and I'll start playing with my phone and let her walk past me and open her own door.
No, I forget who said it, but I saw on some social media that this guy likes to hold the door closed, and so she's actually got to force the door open. It's like that way she knows she earned it.
That's awful and hilarious. No, you can't come in. Prove you're a woman.
Yeah, now prove your worth. Prove that you deserve to get this door open.
That's so
funny.
sad.
That's funny. That's fun. I'm sorry.
It is funny. I'm laughing.
Yeah.
It's just that's how far we've gotten with this stuff, and it's just so. I mean, eventually it's going to end, but like that it had to get to this level of petty over.
You gotta hold it closed, and when you finally let her open it, when you walk by her, say equality, yo. Keep walking. Turn the screw. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I would hold the door open if they were reasonably close behind me. Like if it was to the point that not holding it open would be letting the door slam in their face, then I'll hold it open, regardless.
I've seen guys do that too. I've seen guys walk through and not make any attempt. Yeah.
I've had it done to me.
If some psycho yells at me for holding the door open for her, that let her, like whatever. But yeah, it's only. But like if you're like far enough away that the door can swing closed and you won't be like hit or like close to the door, like yeah, fine, you can open the door yourself. But if you're like right on my heels, where it would be like weird to just let it slam in your face, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hold it.
I always say thank you for it too. Like it's such a like simple little thing to do.
Oh yeah, no one ever thanks me for it. Don't start thinking crazy thoughts.
The person who's opening the door, that's all they want.
Yeah, that's
all they want to hear you say is thank you, and then you smile.
Yeah. I've given up on that. That doesn't happen.
I think
would you hold open an elevator door?
Yeah, I've done that, and I've also held a door for the train. I won't do it if somebody's going to take like over a minute because I do think people on the train are needing to go somewhere too. But like if I can see that you're just running up and it's going to close, I'll tap it again. Yeah. You know.
My cell phone my cell phone is my super weapon.
Yeah.
If I'm walking into an elevator, out of an elevator, into a train, out of a train, I'm staring at my phone the entire time.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to be like vigilantly searching just in case someone is about. Like no, but if I see them and like they're close, I'm like yeah, I'll hold it open for them. There's no harm in that.
I have been told by Unholy Reaper that maybe this is just the Canadian me, but if I went to visit the US, I would slowly torment Americans because I would creep them out with being too polite. Because I think and greet the bus driver. Like we can't talk to the train drivers unless they're walking by, but we greet them too. I remember the second apartment building I lived in, across the street there was a fire, so we all stayed up late to watch the firemen, and when they were done we were like, hey, you guys are heroes.
And I very much agree with Frosted, who says that people who hold the door open when you're like 25 yards away, so you've got to rush over there, they should be arrested.
You need to play in that. You need to play into it, Jen. Make sure when you do something nice that you use as many Canadian colloquialisms that you can. Yep. Just start saying a boot and and A and stuff like that. So people are clear that you're Canadian. That would make it even better. Like,
So I'm not just an
see,
alien.
I'm a nice guy and I'm a Canadian and you're not. You know, it's just a little extra bit. You don't do that much. I don't really hear your Canadian very much in your voice.
I'm from Alberta. We are very much more
Americanized.
yeah. Yeah.
Sorry to hear it.
Yeah. And Frosted in chat says, I held the door open for a woman and she didn't even thank me. She just screamed and flew out of the plane.
It's like the amount of times I hang out with certain British friends and they're like, "You've just never heard it pronounced right before, have you?" And I'm like, "I have. I just don't say it like that. Like aluminum. It's not spelt the way you do, so I'm not going to pronounce it like that."
I don't know why Americans like getting rid of so many letters from words. It's weird. But...
It's efficiency. That's why we win all the wars, because we're much more efficient than everybody else.
But like, I can let the U in color slide sometimes, but like changing aluminium into aluminum, like that's just a totally different word now.
How do you say hi in Chinese?
I have no idea.
To you, it would sound like saying the word she twice. She. That's how they say hi.
Okay.
2 syllables. How do we say hi? Hi. 1 syllable. More efficient.
Well, there's also the evergreen g'day, which I'm partial to.
2 syllables. We're more efficient.
Yes, but some things are more important than efficiency. Like
you're saying hi. How? It's just hi. It's no deeper meaning.
Oh, there's lots of meaning. You need the good g'day. You got to get that out there.
Yeah. Well, we do say hello.
And
we'll copy that.
Keep says Nin Hao, so I'm guessing that's Chinese for hello or something.
He's saying that in Johnny Hellcat.
Oh, Ni Hao.
Ni Hao is hi. Then what's she? Is that thank you?
Maybe that's just the president's name twice.
I've heard that term used in casual conversation between 2 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She is thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I thought it was hello. But ni hao, 2 syllables. Hi, 1 syllable.
I think Jo Sun means good morning.
What is it?
Jo Sun.
Jo Sun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I worked in a casino that was half Western, half Chinese, and the Chinese side had like maybe 8 people who didn't speak English at all, but they would still greet me. And every once in a while, I would spoof them by speaking the 1 or 2 German words I know, but they would greet me "Ni hao, Jo Sun." But that was like 20 years ago.
In chat is saying that there's a British YouTuber he watches who says aluminium all the time, and his OCD forces him to audibly correct it every time. But I'm the same with Z. If I hear someone say Z, I will reflexively say Z.
Yeah.
And I get doubly annoyed if it's Australian or English person who says Z, because there's no excuse.
At least we can claim it's part of our culture to say it that way. But somebody
you're still wrong, but you've got an excuse.
All right. It's okay. I don't have any problems with that at all. If somebody wants to call it a Z instead of a Z, it doesn't bother me at all. I actually kind of find it a little endearing, to be honest with you.
There's an Australian Pokemon channel that I watch, and he refers to Z moves. It's like, no, they're Z moves. You're Australian. You have no excuse. Say it properly.
See, for me, if you're just saying the letter, then I am going to say Z. But if you're using it in like use, like say I say zoo, I know I'm saying the Z a little bit more American than
no.
But if I said zebra, yeah, I know I'm saying the Z with the Z. It's Z.
No, yeah, but the point is just the name of the letter. Yeah. The name of the letter is Z, not Z.
It is, yeah.
And like I will annoy people by referring to JZ and
JZ.
Dragon Ball Z is another one that people don't seem to like very much.
It's okay. It's your culture. I don't really care. It wouldn't bother me either way. but because I'd be able to figure it out. I'm smart enough to figure out what you're talking
Yeah.
about. So it's no big deal. But cultures are going to be different. You say tomato, I say tomato. I don't have any problem with any of that kind of stuff. It's just that when you start poking, not just saying it because it's natural for you to say it, but if you're doing it just to particularly annoy somebody, then it's kind of
Well, I mean, most of the time, like, I don't actually care. I'm playing it up because it's funny. Like, I'm not actually going to like declare war on someone for saying Z because they're
you said
that's what
Z.
they call it.
How dare you? Yeah. Well, maybe you'll have differences. I mean, look at all the differences just for other things besides aluminum. Like, I don't know if you have the same thing with England as we do, but we have elevators. They call them a lift, and
yeah.
They don't have the word condo. There's a whole bunch of little things like that. So,
and I think Rotten Corpse just wants me to say it. So, I'm a partial fan of ZZ Top. I mean, I mean, I like some of their songs, but they're not someone that I've actively sought out to hear more of. Like Sharp Dressed Man and Legs are really the only two songs that like immediately spring to mind for ZZ Top. So I don't know.
Give me all your loving.
I think it is a little bit like that, though. I think it is just Americans cutting off words because they're not necessary. Like, say you were to go into somebody's house and you see, well, I would call them drawers, but they're going to be like, no, those are a chest of drawer.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a difference between dresser drawer and chest of drawers.
Mm-hmm.
And at least in America, there is. The chest of drawers does not typically have a mirror, and the chest of drawers is vertical, not horizontal.
Yeah.
I did hear a good explanation for why America got rid of like the U in color and stuff like that, which is it's cheaper to send telegrams when you're being charged by the letter if you just drop unnecessary letters.
So we're back to efficiency again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to deny that it's more efficient. I just think there's more important things than ruthless efficiency when it comes to.
If people can save money, they're going to save money.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, if I was sending a telegram and being charged by the letter, I would probably be like, you know what? They know what COLOR is going to represent. I don't need the U. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. There was a thing in England where the resident king of the time said, we're going to tax your house on the number of windows you have. So people bricked up their windows.
Of course. Oh, yeah. When it comes to stuff like that, I'm fully on board. I'm just saying that efficiency is not my primary driver when it comes to communication. Not to the point that I'm going to shave off unnecessary letters anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of gets us in trouble too, because we're not very consistent when it comes to our language. I mean, how many ways can you say to? How many ways can you say there? There's just in America there's 3, and I think Gallagher did a whole. Remember Gallagher, the guy with the watermelon?
I've
the
heard
comedian?
of him. I've never seen him.
Yeah. He had this little routine where he took words in English. I try to make the distinguish between English and American because there's enough difference between the two that, and when we're talking about it, could make a difference. But in American, they'll say, what's this word? And it'll be like a 4-letter word, and it'll have an oo sound, but it'll end with GH. And then he'll flip it over and he says, what's this sound? And he says, this sound must be the same as this sound because they're spelled the same except for the first letter has changed. So this word is through, this word is thruff. No, that's not the way. And so he does like maybe, I don't know, 15 slides of it.
Yeah.
Of all the mistakes. And he goes from one right to another, and they're all related to each other as he goes. It's hilarious to watch because even now, maybe even more now, it's more relevant now than it was even back in his time. So it was funny then. It's hilarious now.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up. It does sound good.
Yeah. He's a funny comedian. Was. Good, Jen.
Well, it's just Scotty is going with something that I don't want to tell him, but that stems from Twatter. The whole referring to the hashtag symbol as pound sign. Pound sign came first.
I'm sorry. The reason I'm laughing is because that got turned into a huge joke.
Me too.
When the Me Too thing came out, it became Pound Me Too, and boy, did that backfire on them.
It's just a derivative
If you insist,
of it.
ladies. I mean, you insist.
Yeah, I googled it really quick. I was like, I'm pretty sure that the pound sign came first, but I just want to see it in literature.
It didn't become a meme until Me Too came out, and then it became a meme. Pound Me Too.
Yeah.
In case everybody hasn't noticed, the outro poll for tonight is out. The band is obviously Foreigner for people who don't recognize the song titles. Cold as Ice, Double Vision, Head Games, and Say You Will. And it actually looks like it's going to be a night where there's some variation here because all four of them have been voted on.
I thought Cold as Ice was going to take it by a landslide, but it hasn't been. It's pretty close.
Don't poison the well here. Imagine if I would have put in like Urgent or Hot Blooded.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Everybody would have piled onto one of them.
I mean, 8 people have already voted, so I think that's most of the people anyway. But but no, when I saw the list, I was like, oh, Cold as Ice has got to win this by like a mile. But it's not. It's pretty close.
Oh, it's close. Yeah. One vote could tie up the number one choice. So, well, maybe now 2.
But,
I haven't voted yet either. So
yeah, well, I think you should hold back so you can be the tiebreaker if one is needed.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna need it, but that's okay. I'll hold
and
back.
Plus, says, why'd you leave out all their best songs? He doesn't like putting the super popular ones because he's worried that like it'll be too lopsided of a poll.
Yeah, I want there to be some debate on it. I want people to look at the 4 and say, geez, not sure which one.
Yeah.
It could be this. I don't want them to say, oh, yeah, that's their big hit. Everybody pile on that one. Well, then it's obvious. Why have a poll? Just pick the song and go, you know?
Yeah. And we've already established that he does not want Jack Gunsky to show him what love is.
I have considered asking somebody who's in the music business to provide us with an outro song. But I think people enjoy the poll, so I'm at loggerheads about what I want to do about that.
I think the polls are fun, personally.
I do actually have an outro song that only a few people have heard, because if I'm not streaming on a Wednesday, the regular time for me to stream, if I'm covering for somebody else, I'll use the Wednesday show's official outro song as the intro song to that night.
Okay.
Have you heard it?
Don't think so.
I don't think so. I could play a little bit of it. I don't want to.
I won't hear it. Remember, the audio is all weird for some reason.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll see if it does. If it does, if it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll just play a little bit of it. That's the official outro song. Did you hear it?
That was very faint. I could barely hear anything.
Oops.
It was the same with the the music that you play at the start of the YouTube stream. I couldn't hear that. So weird. Whatever it is, for some reason, I'm the only one who can't hear it when you're playing these songs.
It's weird. I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is that there's an option. I wonder if I can go into settings on StreamYards while we're broadcasting and not have it destroy it. No, first thing it does is screw up the screen. But if you go to the audio settings on StreamYards, there's an option there that says automatically adjust mic volume.
Yes.
And I don't know if that would interfere with it or not.
Well, mine is not ticked, so I don't know if that's...
Mine is.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the thing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that. I think StreamYards turns my volume of my microphone up, but it doesn't turn the volume of the music up because there are 2 different sources.
Right. That could be it.
But when you play back the show, if I go to Rumble or YouTube and I play back the show for the night, it sounds perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's more important that chat can hear the music than I can.
It also kind of defeats the purpose of me doing this, because I put this in place so you guys could hear the music. I specifically did that on purpose.
It's something to fix, but the priority should be chat, not me, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the priority is the show. I don't think the chat really cares. But for
Well,
people
no,
who might
but,
be
like,
looking on the internet for a new show to watch, oh, he's got some nice intro music. You know, it's always a little bit of a lure.
well, that's what I mean. Is like the
Yeah.
audience, not the specific.
Yeah,
You
who
know,
gives a shit
in
about chat?
not the 13 specific people currently watching. No, like
we love
the
you, chat.
audience, like the people who are watching and will watch in the future. The priority should be them, not
Yeah,
me.
yeah. We love our chat. I'm just kidding around.
To torment and give you guys a hard time. Yep, we love you.
Yeah.
It's like a big brother and a little brother, you know. We give you a hard time. One of these is out in front. It's been out in front for a while, so I'm going to close the poll.
Fair enough. I think, yeah, as chat can see, Cold as Ice did still win, but not by the landslide I was expecting.
And while we have 18 minutes left, should we cover at least one of them?
Nah.
No?
I mean,
I don't know.
okay.
I don't know if we should cover it, but we can at least introduce them.
Darth Vader died.
Because we haven't done that either.
Trump debated Kamala, and some people did some things 23 years ago.
We were worried about whether not having enough topics was going to be a problem for tonight. Can we fit them in, or we don't have any time? The breakdown is basically that. James Earl Jones, what I wanted to do with the James Earl Jones is to get your guy's favorite movie or two that had him in it because of his amazing voice. That guy's voice. To imagine that this person suffered through a childhood of stuttering issues only to become the most famous voice in movies, probably. You know, it's
I'll be honest. I don't know what movies he's been in. Besides Star Wars and The Lion King.
Oh, right, because he played Mufasa, right.
Like those are the two things I know he's been in. I've heard that he was it Conan the Barbarian?
He was in Conan. He actually appeared.
But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that movie, so I can't name it as a favorite.
Yeah, he actually appeared in Conan.
The only thing I could say in hindsight is he was really good, but when I think about the last like 10 to 15 years, they kind of peddle more Morgan Freeman than they did like James Earl Jones. And in hindsight, I'm like, that's kind of a shame because I could imagine them both in a movie. And I'm like, why didn't they do that?
Well, there's no reason why they couldn't both be, but I mean, that's two amazing voices. Do you really want them competing with each other?
In a good conversation with each other, yes.
It would be Darth Vader talking to God.
Right?
Because that's what he's known for being Darth Vader, and Morgan Freeman's known for being God in the Jim Carrey movies.
I mean, this is hindsight grief because they can't do that anymore. But like, man, I wish they had thought of that, James. Man, that would have been great. Even just you guys talking to each other in a conversation would be fun.
Green Badger brought out what would be my favorite was The Hunt for Red October.
Okay.
He was in that movie. There's a specific scene. Can I play it? No, I can't play it. It would get us struck. But there's a scene where, for people who haven't seen the movie, go out and see it. And it's not, spoilers. If you don't want to hear it, go somewhere else. But there's a scene where the enemy sub is moving away from a carrier from the United States that's tracking it. And James Earl Jones is aboard the destroyer that's tracking the submarine. So they fire a torpedo at it, and before the torpedo actually hits the boat, he pushes a button and explodes it. So that they have proof that they shot at it. They wanted to create that proof. And he turns to the guy who's in charge of weapons control, and he says, and obviously I can't do his voice, but he says to the guy, he says, now you heard that torpedo hit the hull. And he pulls out his ID and he shows it to the guy and he says, and I was never here. And it's such a great line. Like the entire fucking movie, that was by far, in my opinion, the best line of the movie right there. Because it was so cloak and dagger, I was just like, wow, what a great line. He could do the whole movie just for that one line.
Yeah. I think it's funny how you really need his middle name. Because if you just say James Jones, like, who the fuck is that?
That's the guy who gave everybody Kool-Aid and they all killed themselves.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
Jim Jones.
I know.
yeah, but
James, close
Jim
enough.
is a shortened version of
That's
James.
funny. I
Yeah.
know. Why
But, like,
though?
But like, James Jones doesn't sound like the same guy, even though his name is James Jones.
I'm going to take a second, and I know we only have a few minutes left, about 15 minutes, but I'm going to look up on YouTube real quick the link to that specific one, because there's one link out there that does basically just that part. And I had just looked it up recently, so it should be, yeah, I Was Never Here, Hunt for October. It is a 40-second clip. You guys can't hear it, but I can put a link in chat. So I'll put a link in Rumble chat. No, I'll put a link in both.
Mm-hmm.
So play that when you get a chance. You don't have to do it right now because we're talking, but it's only 39, 40 seconds long. And it's basically just that scene. And it is a fantastic scene.
And apparently he was also in Doctor Strangelove. Frosted mentions that one.
Never
chat.
saw it. Never saw the movie.
No, me neither.
I'm a
I
movie guy.
only know two of his movies, which is Star Wars and The Lion King.
I'm a movie guy. I have no excuse. That's a movie that I should have seen by now. I should have seen that movie. But
of the two, I'm going to give the win to The Lion King, I suppose. Because I
would too. Yeah.
Just the way he says Simba. Such tone to the voice when he says it. The whole house shakes when he says it.
You know what? I'm going to change my vote to the episode of The Simpsons where he voices Maggie. There you go.
Okay.
There is an episode of The Simpsons where it's like one of the Halloween specials, and Homer is going to all these different timelines and universes, and in one of them, Maggie pulls out her dummy and says, "This is indeed a disturbing universe," in James Earl Jones's voice.
That is funny. It's wrong, but it's funny.
Look if I can find. Yeah, he's in Star Wars. He did Field of Dreams.
Okay.
The top four are Star Wars trilogies. Field of Dreams, The Lion King, and The Hunt for October are the top 4 hits. Oh, he was in Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Remember him being in that. He played...
This is not important, but it's been mentioned in chat that you've got the number wrong in the stream title. It's not the 241st.
Oops.
Stream.
Is it the same thing in Rumble? Is it wrong there too?
Yes, they both say 241. I'm guessing it's meant to be 2,431. I think.
Correct. That's only while I'm talking to you.
But yes, that was Tier in chat who pointed that out. So thank you for that.
Fixed.
And
nope, didn't fix it
says
right.
You've never seen Kubrick's good movie.
All right, now it's fixed.
I don't think I've ever seen any of Stanley Kubrick's films.
2001?
No. I tried and failed to watch that because I got very, very bored very, very quickly.
It is a boring movie.
So I don't count. I don't count that because I only watched like maybe 20 minutes of it before I gave up.
That was very generous of you. How kind.
Yeah, it was incredibly dull. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch this anymore. I'm not. I don't know how long the movie is, but I'm guessing it's a good few hours, and I wasn't going to sit through it for that long.
Yeah, both YouTube and Rumble are fixed. Thank you for noticing the number was incorrect.
Yes.
Just a typo. I don't know how did I get rid of the 3?
I don't know.
I don't know how I did that. I thought I would get rid of the 1 because type in 243 and missed the 1, but I somehow got rid of it.
And Frosted has put a link in chat to Star Wars, but Vader is dubbed with lines from other James Earl Jones movies.
I'm just going back in IMDb looking for movies that he was in that people would recognize. I mean, he's got like 9,000 movies he's been in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is so
crazy, he was very prolific. I'm just saying I didn't see any of those movies.
Yeah, but I don't recognize. So I don't recognize any movie here that people would know. The Simpsons episode is in here too. That's pretty amazing that they caught that. Stargate. He was in Stargate SG1. I don't remember appearance. That was a TV show. I was looking for movies.
I didn't watch Stargate, but I will believe you that he was in it. But yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, he was in Judge Dredd. There's a movie that people would recognize.
I've heard of Judge Dredd. I'm claiming partial credit. I've heard of it.
We were in Present Danger with what the hell is his name? Indiana Jones. What's the actor's name?
Yeah, it's gone. I'm blanking on it too. Harrison Ford.
There you go. He played Admiral Greer in that. Oh Jesus! I'm going through scrolling, literally scrolling. I must have scrolled 15 times, and I'm like a third of the way through. I'm not going to keep going through this. We're running out of time in the show for me to find anything. Yeah, Humphrey October is here. Field of Dreams. That was with.
Yeah, no, he was very distinct. Like his voice was very distinct. Like you could tell immediately when it was James Earl Jones voicing a character.
Yeah.
Or just like you didn't need to see him, you could tell by his voice that it was him.
Yeah, I'm still scrolling and I haven't gotten halfway through, so that's into that.
Yeah.
I knew he did a lot of movies, but Jesus, that's more than anybody else I've ever known. So that's crazy.
But
he's gone.
Let me check his bacon number. I'm guessing it's 1, but I'll check his.
Yeah, so that is obviously an issue. He was a favorite of mine. I liked everything about the man. I've heard him talk on television shows and stuff like that, and he seemed like a really good person.
Oh, here we go. James Earl Jones has a bacon number of 2. I thought it was going to be a 1, but it's only 2.
What is this number?
The bacon number is how many movies it takes to link back to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So he was in Finder's Fee with Dash Mihawk, and Dash Mihawk was in Sleepers with Kevin Bacon. So James Earl Jones is bacon number of 2, which surprises me.
And yeah, the debate happened last night. What got me about the debate, not that it was particularly exciting because it wasn't. It was pretty boring. But what got me was the analytics of the debate after the debate. Because they went back and they said, okay, how did this register with people who are still undecided? People who don't know which way to go. How did this track with them? Mm-hmm. And Fox News said that 5 out of 6 independent voters sided with Trump after that debate. 5 out of 6.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt that ABC was caught so heavily red-handed lying about the pet shit. Yep. Because yes, they are eating pets. It's not like every high ED person is doing that, but they do have some extreme people doing that. And sorry, you should deal with that. That's weird and gross and kind of frightening.
They fact-checked Trump 7 times.
My mom thought Kamala Harris won. She was very disappointed in Trump when she's a Trump person, so she was like very disappointed with his performance. She thought Harris won.
Yeah, they fact-checked Trump 7 times and fact-checked Kamala 0 times.
Of course.
And there were some obvious
why would they fact-check Kamala Harris? She's on their side.
Yeah, things like January 6th was worse than 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3,000 people died at the Capitol building. Come on. The problem was Trump wasn't really paying much attention to what she said. That's what it comes down to, because he didn't attack her on anything she said. He just said what he knows about himself to be true.
Yeah.
He was all talking about his policies and how he saw things, but he wasn't going after her.
But that might have been why he did that, though. Like, did she talk about her policies at all?
No.
And that's kind of the point of why he was doing that. Because the major complaint from a lot of the middle ground people, like Anna Kasparian did a pretty good rant about it. Not that I watch TYT, never going to watch TYT. Mm-hmm. But I do watch Actual Justice, so the actual social justice guy. And yeah, one of the major complaints that people like her have is the lack of talk about policy. She's tired of the Trump bad. She did this really good quote. If she didn't even talk about policy at all, then there are a lot of people who are going to look at that and be like, so nothing's changed. They still don't know what she's about.
Right. She didn't come out with anything that told you who she was. He just basically did what a politician does, is say a lot of things and not really say anything.
Well, we know exactly who she is. We know the two most important things about her. She's black and female.
Yeah, that's something that Trump never bothered with. I don't know if I would have either, but like he did have some zingers in there. The fact that they got rid of Biden like a dog. I was like, oh my God, that's fucking so great. Keep doing that, Trump.
I think he's better off not going after her for things like that, because that's not going to do anything for anyone, because that's still playing into their side of politics.
Mm.
I think he's better off actually going after her for stuff that Tulsi even pointed out the last time she destroyed her in a debate.
Right.
I would go after her for the shit she did when she was in charge. I would hyper focus on the fact that she had 18 men due to be put on death row who had to be cleared out. She's a little bit of a menace.
Yeah.
When I looked into that, because I don't know law, I don't know your law. It's rare for a judge to have one or two where a man's been sentenced to the death penalty and they're actually innocent. Like, that's something you guys really try hard not to do.
Mm.
It's why your system is the way it is. She had 18.
Yeah.
Like, somebody who has a lack of capacity for judgment. Yes, that would be one of them.
Well, I mean, he didn't hit her on the things he should have hit her on. At least until the end. At the end, he said, you know, you have all these great ideas about what you're going to do in the next 4 years. Why haven't you been doing in the last 4 years? He should have been sprinkling that through everything the entire night. So he missed a lot of opportunities. He was inside his own head instead of going after her. So I don't know. You got to be careful when you're dealing with her, because she likes. I mean, if you watched her face during the show, just watch what her emotions were. She's very much a brat.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
The final topic is September 11, but we're a bit late to report the news. It actually happened 23 years ago, so don't worry about that one. That's not important.
Yeah. Well, I kind of brought that up at the beginning about Twitter and Keywordam having a nice picture out there to remember.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really good documentaries you guys could watch, though. Like, there's obviously the old ones where you could watch the news coverage, but one of the better ones that's been out for a couple of years was the boat rescue. How I can't remember how many ferries went into that, but they saved 500 people. You know, they helped them get off the island, and they did it in such a short time that it was made note of.
See, because of your accent, it sounded like you said fairies, so I thought they were sending gay people in.
Well, they did. They had different types of boats. They had tugboats and ferries and
yeah.
Like that,
but instead of, because you're saying ferries, but it sounds to me like fairies. So I'm thinking like they're sending all these gay people in to rescue everyone.
Well, the only good thing that I know that happened when it came to Trump and Kamala was they were both at the memorial today, the 9/11 memorial today, and they were seen by media shaking hands with each other. So I thought that was
I just hope that
cool.
Trump actually had a buzzer on his hand. He's like,
well, we'll see what happens. Most of the people I've talked to and most of the videos that I've watched say it didn't really move the needle. That was the term I heard most.
I don't think it would, because like I said, she didn't cover anything. So her side didn't get anything, and he didn't really attack her in a way that satisfied a lot of people, which I just thought it was a really boring debate. It was just super boring.
Well, what got me through it is I was listening to Monkey and Jack talk about it. I was watching their stream, wasn't watching it live, and they color commentated it, made it much more interesting.
Oh, Beth.
Because they were all over Kamala. So I was like, yeah, that's what I want to hear. Monkey and Jack together have a really good show.
Yeah,
they are. They really are.
They really are. Well, 10:01. Time to rock and roll.
Eat.
Unless you guys have something else you want to talk about.
No, not really.
Not really.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and get out of here then. Tonight's music is Cold as Ice by Foreigner, so we'll start that up. Thanks, fam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. If you can't wait for next Wednesday's show, remember the Minions are live every evening, including weekends. Did I say Wednesdays?
Yeah.
You know what's on my mind? The Wednesday show. With most shows starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Hosts and start times are linked in the description down below. Don't forget about our Rumble pre-show. That stream will start generally half an hour before YouTube, and that's where all the fun stuff is. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.